Before R&B and soul became polished, glossy, and mainstream, there were records so raw, so emotional, and so overlooked that only true crate diggers even know they exist. Today, we're diving into 12 of the most overlooked soul songs of the 60s and 70s, tracks that never got the spotlight they deserved, but still hit harder than most chart toppers. If you think you've heard it all, trust me, you haven't. Let's get into the gems hiding deep in the grooves. I still remember the first time I heard Soul Deep. It wasn't on the radio, and it definitely wasn't from some fancy record shop. It was playing out of a friend's old beat-up turntable in the back of his uncle's garage. The kind of place where the air smelled like gasoline and dust, but the music made it feel like a sacred spot.
Oh yeah, just to show I adore ya.
When that opening groove kicked in, I froze. I kept thinking, how did this song slip past everybody? See, people usually talk about the Box Tops like they were just another pop group from the late 60s. But when you hear Soul Deep, you realize they had something more, something some of the biggest soul names never touched. Alex Chilton's voice comes in with this rough, worn-in power, like he's been through more than he's willing to say, and the band wraps around him with such warm, melodic soul. It's blue-eyed soul, sure, but it hits the heart with the same weight as anything coming out of Memphis or Detroit. Back then, a lot of folks didn't take songs like this seriously because they didn't fit neatly into one box. Too soulful for the pop crowd, too pop-leaning for the hardcore soul stations.
I can tell now, I don't know much.
So Soul Deep lived in this middle space, quiet, overlooked, but incredible if you were lucky enough to hear it. Even today, when I play it for people, I watch their faces change. They stop talking, they really listen, and they always ask the same thing. How have I never heard this before? By 71, Philly Soul was finding its voice, and trust me, if you lived through that era, you know the sound I'm talking about. Smooth, polished, emotional without trying too hard. Everywhere you went, barbershops, pool halls, corner stores, you'd hear the stylistics floating through the speakers. Everything is you. But strangely enough, You Are Everything wasn't the song you heard most. People always went straight for the big ones. Betcha by Golly, Wow, You Make Me Feel Brand New. Those songs were massive. They got the spotlight, the radio play, the love. But You Are Everything, that one lived in the shadows, even though it had the same beautiful harmonies, the same heartbreak, the same soft floating magic that made the stylistic special. I first heard it late at night on a little AM station that barely came through clearly. The signal kept fading, and every time it went quiet, I'd twist the dial, almost praying the song wouldn't disappear on me. Everything is you. Oh, you are everything. The moment I heard Russell Tompkins Jr.'s voice glide through the chorus, I knew this song was different. It didn't try to impress you, it just told the truth. On my bed. Now this one was a ghost for years. The kind of deep soul track you didn't stumble across unless you knew a guy who had a cousin with a dusty box of 45s hidden in a basement somewhere.
come along.
I discovered There's No You in a record shop that barely had a sign out front. The kind of place where you didn't browse, you dug. Crates stacked on crates, half the labels worn off, prices written in pencil. I pulled out a plain-looking record with no sleeve, and the shop owner just nodded like he knew I had found something important. When I got home and played it, I felt like the air changed. The singer's voice carried this kind of pain you can't fake. Slow, heavy, honest. Every line sounded like he was trying to hold himself together just long enough to finish the song.
I don't see I'm going to make it for my dearest darling.
The instruments stayed simple, almost bare, like they didn't want to distract from what he was feeling. Songs like this never got big because they were too raw, too close to the bone.
Make it for my dearest darling. You have really messed me around.
They didn't sparkle like Motown. They didn't groove like Stax. They just told the truth straight from the center of the chest. And maybe that's why they disappear.
I need you, baby. You know that I need.
They're uncomfortable in a beautiful way. But once you hear There's No You, you don't forget it. It becomes one of those songs you keep for yourself until someone else is ready to understand it.
He's my best friend.
If you ever talk to serious vinyl collectors, the ones who treat their records like relics, they'll bring up Kenny Carter at some point. Showdown isn't just a song to them. It's a treasure, a rare soul burner that people spent decades digging for. I heard it for the first time at a soul night in a basement club lit only by red bulbs and cigarette tips.
I've got to tell him today.
The DJ dropped the needle and immediately the room changed. Kenny Carter's voice came out swinging, powerful, sharp, full of this urgency that made you feel like he was singing straight at you, demanding you listen. And the band behind him, tight, punchy, moving like they were trying to push the floorboards loose. It wasn't slick, it wasn't sweet. It was soul with his sleeves rolled up and his fists clenched.
To hurt him, but I've got to desert him.
People always ask why a voice like Kenny Carter's never got the attention it deserved. The truth is, sometimes timing doesn't line up. Sometimes a voice arrives before the world is ready to appreciate it.
But we can't run and hide, I know.
Showdown is one of those tracks that proves talent alone isn't always enough. You also need luck, opportunity, and a label that knows what to do with you.
Somebody had told Joe about seeing this old lady downtown.
I remember walking into this tiny record shop in downtown Philly. It was one of those places where the windows were dusty, the floor creaked, and the smell of old vinyl was strong enough to choke you. I was just looking for something new, something different, and then I saw it. A worn-out 45 with no cover, scribbled letters on the label, Lee Moses, time and place. I put it on the turntable, and right away, I was hit by something raw. The guitar cut through like a knife, gritty and alive.
Where you going with that pistol in your hand?
Lee Moses' voice wasn't polished. It wasn't smooth. It was real. He sang like he had lived every word, like he had felt every heartbreak and loss he ever experienced. And the music behind him, simple, but each note was loaded with feeling. Back then, this wasn't a song that made charts or radio waves.
Going downtown.
It was something you found if you were paying attention, if you were listening, but the people who did hear it, they never forgot it. There was this intensity, a fire in Lee Moses' music.
I heard you shout it down, boy.
that made every word hit deeper than anything else on the airwaves at the time. It was like the soul underground was speaking directly to you, and you were lucky to hear it.
Can you feel the way the world is turning? Will we live to...
I was 17 the first time I heard Terry Callier. My older cousin had a record player in his living room, the kind with the wooden lid that smelled faintly of cigarette smoke and wax polish. He put the needle down, and What Color Is Love started to play. I had never heard anything like it. It wasn't just soul. It was soul mixed with folk, jazz, a little blues.
Is the lesson too late for the learning? Do our emotions...
Terry's voice floated over the music, soft and smooth but full of weight, like he was carrying a whole lifetime of stories in every note. It wasn't loud or flashy. It didn't try to impress anyone, but it demanded your attention anyway. Most people didn't hear Terry Callier back then. He wasn't on top 40 radio, and the record labels didn't push him like they did the bigger stars.
If the truth appears...
But for those of us who stumbled upon him, it felt like discovering a secret. What Color Is Love was the kind of song that stayed with you for days, that made you think about life and love and all the quiet things in between. It was understated, beautiful, and completely unforgettable. Baby Washington had this voice that could make you feel every little ache in your chest. I first heard Only Those in Love on a late night show, the kind where they played records they didn't dare put on the morning radio. The song was soft, delicate, almost fragile, but it hit so hard. It wasn't about flashy production or big orchestras. It was just her voice, the lyrics, and a little band behind her. And yet, it felt like she was singing straight to me, like she knew the kind of heartbreak I was carrying around. People didn't give her credit back then. She didn't make the big headlines, didn't sell millions of records, and yet, hearing her sing, I understood why soul collectors and insiders loved her so much. She was pure honesty, wrapped in velvet, and her music lingered in your heart long after it stopped playing.
You can't tell me.
Now this one, oh man. I remember being at a house party, hot summer night, the kind where the music is loud, people are dancing on the hardwood floors, and the air is thick with sweat and excitement.
You can't tell me.
The DJ dropped It's My Thing, and everything changed. Marva Whitney's voice hit like a freight train, fierce, commanding, powerful. She wasn't asking for attention, she demanded it. The band behind her, with that tight James Brown-powered funk, pushed and pulled you along with every beat, and the energy in the room, electric.
You can't tell me.
People were moving without thinking, caught in the groove, feeling every note. It never got the spotlight it deserved. Some said it was too raw, too aggressive, not radio-friendly enough.
Tell me, you can tell me who's rock to.
But if you were there, if you were listening, you didn't care about charts or labels. You felt it in your bones. It was soul stripped down to its most honest, most explosive form. And once you experienced it, you knew you'd never forget it. I'll never forget the first time I heard Barry White on my little stereo at home. The room was dark, except for a single lamp casting a warm glow on the couch, and the air smelled faintly of incense my sister liked to burn. When I'm Gonna Love You Just a Little More Baby started playing, It was like someone turned up the heat in the room. Barry's voice was deep, smooth, and somehow intimate, like he was speaking directly into my ear. The orchestration wrapped around him like a velvet blanket, lush strings, soft horns, the rhythm moving slowly, perfectly. I was only a teenager, but the song made me feel something I hadn't felt from any record before. Something warm, seductive, and completely irresistible. Most people remember Barry for Can't Get Enough of Your Love or Never Never Gonna Give You Up, and sure, those were hits. But this track, it didn't get the love it deserved. It was like a secret hidden in plain sight, a sensual masterpiece overlooked in the catalog. And for me, discovering it felt like being let in on a secret that only the lucky few got to know. I first heard Misdemeanor on a mixtape a friend had burned for me. The tape itself was scratched and hissing, but the moment Foster Silvers' voice came through, I forgot all about the imperfections. There was this energy in the song, fun, youthful, playful, that just grabbed you and wouldn't let go. The groove was tight, funky, impossible not to move to. Foster's voice danced across the beat, teasing and charming, and even as a kid, I could feel how different it was from the serious soul and funk tracks I'd been hearing. It had this spark, this joy that made you want to hear it over and over again. Misdemeanor wasn't topping charts. It wasn't on the radio every day, but for those who heard it, it became a treasure. The kind of song that makes you smile just thinking about it. The kind that reminds you why you fell in love with music in the first place.
Believe you're gonna make me want you. Ooh, you're gonna make me need.
I stumbled upon Sandy Sheldon one rainy afternoon in a record shop tucked away on a side street. The shop smelled of coffee and old vinyl, and the owner was nodding along to something spinning on a turntable.
What you need, no matter where or how, staring her in my.
I asked him what it was, and he smiled like he'd been waiting for someone to notice. "You're gonna make me love you," he said. The moment I heard it, I understood why he smiled. Sandy's voice hit hard, bright, and full of life, carrying this mix of excitement and longing.
All the loneliness inside, even in my sleep at night.
The beat was fast, energetic, and somehow addictive. I couldn't help tapping my foot, moving my head, and feeling that electricity in my chest. This was Northern Soul at its finest, a track made for people who lived for the dance floor, for the rush of music moving through your body, and yet it had been hidden, overlooked, waiting for someone to find it.
You're gonna make me love you. You're gonna make me love you. You're gonna make me want you, need.
For me, that day, it felt like discovering a holy grail, a song that demanded you pay attention and made you fall in love instantly. And then there was Laura Lee. I remember hearing To Win Your Heart late one night on a college radio station, the DJ speaking softly between songs. The voice that came through the speakers stopped me in my tracks. Emotional, strong, raw, Laura Lee's voice carried a weight that was impossible to ignore. The song itself was simple but perfect. The arrangement didn't need to be flashy. It let her voice tell the story. Every note, every inflection, Every sigh felt like it was pulled straight from real life. I felt the heartbreak, the hope, the longing, as if she was singing not just to the audience, but to me personally. Back then, this song didn't make the top of the charts. It didn't dominate the airwaves. But for those who heard it, it became unforgettable. It's one of those tracks that reminds you why soul music exists, not to sell records, but to touch hearts. To Win Your Heart is timeless, a true gem of Detroit soul. And hearing it that night felt like a gift, like I had been let in on one of the greatest secrets of the 60s. The journey doesn't end here, R&B soul lovers. Watch this next.